It's a pimp named Slaughter here, letting you know that you are watching Comic Book Addicts with S. Vaughn 82, my brother.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Comic Book Addicts. It's episode 54, and it's also Monday, February 12th, the week of Valentine's Day. You guys got any good plans for Valentine's Day this week? I hope, whether you're in a relationship or not, I hope that you all have a great week regardless. But anyways, Monday also means the Monday night lineup. We got a lot of good live streams going on tonight. Izzy did not do his normal comic book weekly pull list. He's taking the week off to hang out with his wife. I think it was her birthday. So happy birthday to her. I hope they're having a great time. He will be back next Monday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time, though, with the comic book weekly pull list. Always a really fun time over there on his channel. So be sure to check that out if you aren't checking that out already. It's every Monday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. And also have Comic Book Addicts every Monday at 7:30. We got a really good schedule coming up. I actually don't have it on here. I was going to throw it up and show you guys some of the upcoming shows. I don't have it on here, though, so I apologize. But we do have some really good shows coming up, including Brian Silverbaugh, Trish Forstner. Let's see. Who else? I'm drawing a blank here. We got a lot of really good ones. Chris and Ralph Productions. A lot of really good guests coming up, though. But be sure to come and hang out with me every Monday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. And Between the Lines tonight at 8:35 p.m. they'll have special guest Chalk Girl. And I think they had her booked for like a couple weeks ago, maybe a month or so ago. And it ended up being canceled for one reason or another. But it's going down tonight, 8:35 p.m. Eastern time, right after Comic Book Addicts. So be sure to check that out. This week it's on Geek Out with Roscoe. It's over at Geek Out with Roscoe's channel. So they alternate every week between Roscoe's channel and Travis's channel. But this week, it'll be at Geek Out with Roscoe. Then at 9 p.m. Eastern time, 22 Comics brings you his top 10 alternatives. This is one of my favorite live streams when it comes to comic book live streams having to do with speculation and stuff. I like to see the different picks that he comes up with every week. It's very interesting stuff. It's not the stuff straight off the Hot 10 list. He comes up with his own original alternatives, like it says in the name, to the Hot 10 list. So very creative, really cool show. Then Capo Comics he rounds off the night at 10 p.m. with his Monday Night Raw books. So if you're not checking that out, be sure to check out those live streams. A lot of really cool guys with some cool live streams. You're into comics and that kind of thing. But anyways, let's see who we have in the chat, because the chat's popping off. We got Las Cruces first as usual. He says hooray and woohoo. What's up, Las Cruces? I hope you're doing well, man. He says hello from New Mexico as well. Hello from Chattanooga, bro. And then we got Mark. We got this guy saying Becker cannot be trusted to speak honestly. I'm here to fact check him along the way. Well, I appreciate you being here to do that, Mark. I appreciate that very much. We got Comic Cap Collectibles. He says, hello, all. Third person here. Yes, sir. I appreciate you too, man. I really appreciate you guys coming and hanging out with me on these Monday evenings. I really appreciate it. It's always a lot of fun seeing you guys pop in here. Like Brother John, what's up, man? He says, unlike Mark, I trust Beckermin with implicity and take his words as gospel. We got Legion popping in again, and that's why I will outlive you, John. Vogs, what's up, dude? He says, let's go. What's going on, Vogs? Hope you're doing well, man. We got Brian LCS, the Godfather, saying, hey, all. What's up, Brian? I hope that you're doing well this evening. Thanks for coming out. Let's see, we got Tony from the Comiverse. What's up, Tony? Tony does a live stream every Saturday night, or actually every Saturday afternoon, I should say. I think it's 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. Just a fun community hangout. So if you're not busy on Saturday afternoons, check that out. It's over at Comiverse on YouTube. We got Dr. Von Hoots, Comics from the Spiral Dimension, saying evening all. What's up, Hoots? Welcome. Shop. What's up, Shop? Shop for Comics. Hope you're doing well this evening. I showed you a little slide. I made a slide for you. I threw up on the screen before. I'll throw it up again. If you guys are interested, I'm sure you've seen this Shopverse stuff on Instagram. But if you're interested in having your own cover or your own art done by Shop, just hit him up on IG. So I got a couple of different prints from him a few weeks back, or about a month ago now, and super highly satisfied. I put them in frames and hung them up on the wall, or else I'd show you right now. But really cool stuff. We got actual Dracula saying good evening. What's up, Drac? What's going on, Adrian? I hope you're doing well, man. Taylor Winder, what's up, Taylor? He says, hey, nerds. What's going on, Taylor? Thanks for coming out, man. I appreciate you. We got Izzy, I was talking about a few minutes ago. He normally kicks off the Monday night lineup. I did want to mention, however, he did drop a new video, I think, over on his channel. So he does have new content for you to check out if you want to head over there and check it out. He says, hey, Sean, just stopping by to say, hit that like button. I appreciate it, Izzy. And I hope you have a good night, man. We got Canadian Survivalist. What's up? Thanks for coming out. Yes. Let's see, skimming down. Make sure I don't miss anybody. Oh, we got Black Spiders. What's going on? Yo, what up, everyone? Appreciate you coming out, man. I'll make sure. We got Digger Jim as well. What's up, Digger Jim? He says, hello, everyone. Digger Jim, me and him hang out just about every Wednesday on New Comic Book Day over on Chris the Comic Vet's Show Us What You Got live stream. It's kind of become a New Comic Book Day tradition. Taylor Winder as well. He's always on there. It's kind of become a New Comic Book Day tradition where I get off work, I go pick up my books, and then I go home and jump on the live stream with Chris and all these gentlemen. And it's a really good time. We all show off what we got, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. So if you're not doing anything, over on the Comic Vets channel, every Wednesday, I think it's 7 p.m., we get on there and just have a good time, show off our books. We got Biggie Shaq, my homie Biggie Shaq, who I end every live stream with. Appreciate you showing up, man. I hope you're having a good evening. This rainy Monday here in Chattanooga. Smash that like button. Yes, sir. Appreciate you. Just trying to skim through them, make sure I don't miss anybody. I think I got everybody though. I want to mention I'll be hopping on live tomorrow morning, and I'll be doing the second. This is only the second time I've ever done this, so I'm still working out the bugs with it and everything. But I had fun last time. Comic Journey and Madam Blaster jumped on last time with me. It was 2 weeks ago, Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. I did episode 1, and CJ and Madam Blaster jumped on, and it was a lot of fun. We went through issues 1 and 2, but we'll be going through issues 3 and 4 tomorrow, and it's going to be a lot of fun. If you're not doing anything around 9 a.m. Eastern time, come hang out with me, and as we talk about these different what ifs, I plan on going through the whole run if it all works out, because this is a series that I've always been into. Just some really good books in that run. But anyways, let me stop blabbing. Let's bring out the guests. We got a good one this evening. I had the pleasure of meeting this week's guest in person this past year at Nirvana Comics in Knoxville. He's a lifelong comic collector, whereas a lot of us ended up getting out at some point. This guy never did. He just kind of stayed with it his whole life. And the word legend, I feel like, gets thrown around a lot nowadays, but I definitely feel like it could be applied to him when it comes to comic books. But anyways, let me quit blabbing and bring him out here. Y'all help me welcome Beckermin to the live stream. What's up, bro?
Hey, everybody. What's up, Scotty?
What's going on, dude? You doing all right?
Oh, not much. And, speaking of Nirvana Comics 1, that place was awesome. And they hooked us both up. They gave us a free trade paperback of our choice, right? Each?
Yeah.
How nice and welcoming those people were.
The guy's name was McKay, and he was so friendly, and just walked us around the store, gave us a tour, and gave us free trades.
Yeah, he really liked the whole story of us meeting online and meeting up to the okay thing. Really, he dug it.
Yeah. He thought that he didn't know the concept of an AOK, so he thought that was really cool. And Yeah, it was awesome. I love Nirvana
No, that
comics.
place was great. I had Zaxby's right before you showed up for the first
Nice.
time, so that was a legendary day.
For
And
the
I was
first
this close
time.
to getting you to jump into my car.
Man,
I
and
feel like
that
you were at the tipping point.
that was one of my biggest regrets, honestly, looking back last year. If there was any way that it was work, man, that's all that was holding
Right,
me
yeah.
back.
Those
If I
pesky
could have,
jobs that get in the way
yeah, man, I just couldn't figure out a way to get out of it. But I'm
and
still
keep
like,
your
man,
job.
all the fun, yeah, I guess so, but that's not very responsible. And then I wouldn't be.
No. I meant like nobody wants to get fired for
Oh,
running.
I thought you said quit your job.
God dang it, Mark.
But yeah, I haven't been back up there since, but I definitely want to get back up there. They told me I could live stream up there. They invited me back up there and told
Yeah,
me that
you
I
should
could
go,
live stream
man.
from
It
there if
is
I
a bit of
wanted
a
to.
drive for you, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I just haven't had time to make it back up there, but they gave me an invite to come and record, live stream, whatever I wanted to do, and pretty awesome. Really cool shop. But anyways, how are you doing, man? You doing okay?
I'm doing okay. I really like that Legion comment of
Which one? That
go down to. There you go.
I love to hear that. He dug y'all's story. Just met online, traveled miles to meet. Yeah, because
Without
Beckermin.
your wives, hope he told you all to wear protection.
Right, exactly. But he was traveling through Tennessee and hit me up, and because he knew that I lived obviously in Tennessee,
Yeah.
or in East Tennessee, and
And he
asked me
came
how
to meet
close.
me.
Yeah, asked me how close I was to Knoxville, and I was close enough to where I was like, hell yeah, I'm gonna drive. It's like an hour and a half. It's not far at all. So we drove up there and made it happen. It was fun. But where do you currently reside? For anybody that's not familiar with you, where do you currently reside?
Well, I want to be factual here. So,
Okay.
Lee's Summit, Missouri, which is a
Very-
suburb of Kansas City.
Okay. So, but you didn't always live there though. Where are you from originally?
I'm from originally I was born in Davenport, Iowa in a hospital, but we lived in Rock Island, which is Illinois. And then I grew up in a town called Dubuque, Iowa.
Okay. So at what age did you move out to Kansas City where you are now?
Like 41.
Oh wow. So
So I moved here in
too long.
2019. No,
Oh,
so I
okay.
would have been like 40.
What? Okay, but you've been a lifelong, like I said when I was trying to introduce you, where most of us have kind of got out at one point or another. You never really did. You've collected like your whole life.
So yeah, I started reading comics at 89, but I always consider like in 1989, I should say, I consider like 1991 the year I got really into it. That's when I got a pull list. I started regularly following titles. At that point, I'd already picked up the first few issues of New Warriors off the rack, but then they went on my pull. Thor was on my pull, Avengers West Coast.
Nice.
I think I jumped on New Mutants right at like 100 and then X-Force.
Do you remember the book that like the particular?
I remember the first comic book I ever read.
Well, like what was it that actually got you and pulled you in and was like, man, I got to keep reading?
Trading cards, the Marvel trading card series, really.
I love to hear that so much because that's how I was too. The trading cards got me more into the comics.
I don't know where it is. I keep around me most of the time the New Warriors rookie card. I still have it. Like it's the one I pulled out of a pack.
Very cool.
I thought it was so cool. I'd already been reading them, but it was like cool to me to have the card to go with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I really liked it. I liked them because I would trade them with my friends and you could learn the stats about each character. And I was able to get more into the comic books through the cards.
And then another thing like that got me serious into it is honestly being able to afford it. Once I got a paper route and I had like a steady stream of money I knew I could commit to comic books.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then high school, honestly, like I cut my pull down a bit because Marvel wasn't as good to me, at least. Like I was starting to not like, so I graduated high school in 98, and my
okay.
pull list was probably down to about 5 books,
So you're
which it had
two like
gotten a little
two
bigger.
you're like 2 years older than me.
Okay. And so at that point, I don't know if I would have stayed into comics, but then I met my group of friends that like would later go to cons with, and some of my best friends. Like a big one was my buddy Joe. I met him in 1999, and he was a
Okay.
little older, and he was big into comics and had been reading longer than I and had a bigger collection. And he got me into DC, and
Okay.
that like turned a corner. So right before I met him, I had started reading. It had already come out, but I went back to collect it. No Man's Land. That was like
Mhm.
my introduction to the DC universe. Because up till that point, I was very staunchly into Marvel. I got a few Image books, but for the most part, I didn't care about anything but Marvel. And at this point, the New Warriors Volume 2 had been canceled. Like a lot of my steady books just weren't around anymore. And a lot of the characters I liked weren't relevant at that time.
Yeah.
So I was a big X-Men fan, and then the Onslaught stuff happened. It just wasn't good to me, at least. I think I was collecting Rob Liefeld's Captain America. I was the Avengers. Uh, I know I never gave up on FF, but I think I got rid of Thor. I think I stopped reading Thor at some point. I've gone back and collected my gap since, but
But you're like a huge New Warriors fan, and in particular Speedball, which
yeah, Speedball's my guy.
dude, you were the first person that I'd ever met in my whole life that he was one of my favorite childhood characters. And so you were maybe the only other person I've ever met who's also
That's how I
in,
got introduced to you.
yeah,
Circumstances tagged me in a thing because you were like, I'm into a character that nobody's heard of. His name is Speedball. I was like, oh, I've got something for you.
yeah, and turns out like you're like the world's biggest Speedball fan. Like you have
We're
everything.
out there. We're just the silent majority or minority, however you
What
look
is
at it.
it?
But you'd be surprised. There are people who request Speedball sketches and enjoy.
So you think it
Hashtag Marvel
happened?
Zombie. See, Mark knows all my stories. In the 90s and late 80s, they were doing that thing in the bullpen where they would call the Marvel fans Marvel Zombies. And I said, I was always a proud, like, I would be like, no, I'm a Marvel Zombie. And looking back on it, it's kind of an insulting term for your audience because a
Yeah,
zombie is a brainless creature that just follows and hungers.
true, very true.
Yeah, it's
Mark,
not a very flattering term to call somebody.
no, absolutely not. Mark was asking what was the eye opener for you with DC?
Starman.
Starman. I'm not familiar with Starman at all.
Jack Knight Starman. So you know who Courtney is, the Star Girl?
Yeah, yeah.
So the staff she carries, she actually got from Jack Knight, who got it
Okay,
from his father, the Golden Age Starman.
okay, okay.
Starman is just this picture. It's like the most
Um,
90s grunge book ever. It's like if Pearl Jam wrote a comic book, and I love it. I love it so much.
oh God,
It's just
that's hilarious.
and again,
But
that's a book I came into late. Like it was already by the time I started reading it, they were probably wrapping it up.
oh,
And I went back and bought everything.
very cool. Well, I was starting to ask you, what was it? You're obviously a massive Speedball fan. What is it about the New Warriors and that particular character? Like why Speedball? Out of all the characters, what drew you to Speedball?
So originally I liked Marvel Boy, but
Marvel Boy.
Speedball won me over because I, I wasn't good at sticking up for myself as a kid. I got bullied a lot and picked on. I didn't have a lot of friends. I wasn't very social. That's kind of the weird kid in the back of the classroom, just hoping everybody'd leave him alone. But comic books were a refuge to me. And I
Yeah.
really liked the character of Speedball because, yeah, the Hulk was cool. Then there's another one I forgot. Hulk was on my original poll. I liked the idea of a guy that could rage out and, get revenge on all the people that were mean to him. That appeals to a bullied kid. But in a
Yes.
way, I couldn't smash anything. But the idea of Speedball having this great power, but not being able to control it, like, I really feel like that appealed to me in a different way, just because who feels like they really fit in? You know what I mean? In high school, most of it, there's a lucky few that high school was really good to, but for the most of us, we're really insecure. And you have
Yeah.
this character that, one, he was a jock before he got his powers. And when he got his powers, he had to like avoid human contact and become like a loner because he was so afraid. If somebody tackled him, he could have killed him, put him in the hospital.
Yep.
And why is it Howard Chaykin? Yeah, we can get into that. I mean, Chaykin's really good. But yeah, so Speedball, and then
Thanks, Tyler. Sorry, man.
Speedball is the adventures that happen within New Warriors, where like you learned that he hid behind jokes and that he really wasn't as cocky or as confident as he made believe that he was. Because really, he was a guy who couldn't control his powers.
Now, how do you feel? Me and you've talked about this a lot, but I just want to talk about it on the live stream. How do you feel about
you want to talk about penance?
Yes, I want to bring up penance. How do you feel about that whole deal?
I think it was probably a good idea that could have been, if it had consistent stewardship. I think it could have been good. There are issues in that Thunderbolts run that aren't bad. But then when people who didn't have any investment in the character or didn't care where he ended up with their storytelling made him an absurd joke, I didn't care for that. I didn't like I never was a huge fan of the cutting himself. But when it became like cartoonish and he just started doing dumb stuff like hitting his head against walls in a depowered room.
Yeah.
That's not for me. They didn't care about the character.
And for any of you guys that aren't familiar with penance, he wore this suit.
It's post Civil War. If you don't know, Speedball was the event that kicked off Civil War.
Yeah.
And he survived it.
Yes.
He killed 600 and some people and 60 some children, and he built a suit to control his powers, and the suit operated off of hurting him. It didn't need to. He made it to unnecessarily punish himself. So I say a very emo like cutter. They made him a cutter.
Basically. One for each child that died.
So these, each person, and then the longer spikes represented the children.
Okay.
And it made his power look differently than it ever, or work differently than it ever had before.
Yeah.
It was kind of like an Iron Man suit a little bit, but it was dumb. It wasn't a great idea. And
do you feel like
humanity they could have given it just went out the window when, like, I can't remember the name of the writer because I'm trying to block it all out, but the dumb story where Squirrel Girl goes to him and tries to like convince him to stop hurting himself, and like she finds him in a room that he would retreat to that depowered him. He was like banging his head into the wall.
Yeah.
Boy, I was just like, I am done with this. Like, come on.
Yeah. There was
and then he was gonna build a suit for the cat Niels. And
how many kids did Speedball, your favorite hero, kill?
Was it 66?
I believe so. I think it was 60 something for sure. 66 sounds right. It might be 61. Maybe 61.
He never actually built the suit for the cat. He just talked about it, and then Squirrel Girl like got mad at him and left. He never actually turned him into the penitent Puss was the name of that, by the way. For anyone that wants to defend that story, that's what you're defending.
There is technically somewhere in the 616 a cat running around with the same abilities as Speedball.
Yes, Niels the cat.
Yep.
So they were involved in the same. They were involved in the same accident. So Niels has the same powers as Speedball. And actually, I own the page from Avengers Academy issue 20, where Speedball forgives himself and reunites with Niels and apologizes.
You have a lot of really cool original art. You got a lot of it on the wall behind you there.
These are my 4 favorites, and this is my guy Austin LeMay, who needed to be represented on the wall.
Sweet.
So
very cool.
I just, for now, I picked 4 of my favorites. This is a page from the Mighty Thor 412.
Oh, wow.
And it's signed on the back by Joe Sinnott, and on the front by Ron Frenz and Tom DeFalco. And on the left side, we have a page from New Warriors issue 19. It's one of my favorite issues. It's probably my second favorite issue. It's
what's significant about it? What's significant about that issue in particular?
I like Gideon.
Okay, fair enough.
The star of New Mutants 98. That's why that book is worth so much money.
I like that.
First appearance of Gideon. Night Thrasher issue 1.
Yes, who is coming back very soon.
Yes. And then over here we have a page from Night Thrasher 4 Control issue 3, which was Night Thrasher's first miniseries.
What are some other characters you're really into?
Well, a ton. I love like the fringe guys mainly. I like Hulk. I like Hulk a lot. My first pull, like my first book that I got consecutive issues of was a Hulk. And it was the issue right before he became Professor Hulk or New Hulk, or what at the time he was called New Hulk, but now people have gone back and dubbed him Professor Hulk.
Yeah.
But I love that run. The Pantheon, Peter David's Hulk was so good. So good. I'm a big Rick Jones fan too.
Yeah. Peter David's the man. I'm a big fan of a lot of his stuff. Night Thrasher is returning to
this
take
week.
Down the OG. Yeah. It's gonna be awesome.
I have every copy ordered currently.
I ordered one of the covers. I can't remember which one I went with because I couldn't decide, but I only let myself order one. So I know I got one of them coming. Peter David's writing is amazing. Yes.
I love Peter David.
I have something of his signed. I think I have an X Factor book signed of his.
Yeah, he did a great X Factor run, and then he crossed it over with Hulk. And they went to that kind of Kuwait country, and they liberated it or whatever. The Pantheon was fighting over there.
Well, we were talking about Peter David. You've had the opportunity of meeting so many legends over the years.
Met Peter.
You met Peter David? Awesome. Who are some? I was going to ask you to name off like some of your favorite people that you've been able to meet over the years.
Hold on a second.
Oh, we got Izzy. We got Izzy as his little avatar there. Nice.
It just so happens I have a couple of signed Peter David scripts from X Factor sitting right next to me.
Wow. Yep, that's his signature. Man, that's cool. You got all the cool stuff.
First time for everything, circumstances.
I like it when Night Thrasher drops Nova off the roof in New Warriors.
That's in issue 1. That's the first page of New Warriors. Because Night Thrasher had broken into the files of the Fantastic Four, and he read Reed's diagnosis of Nova losing his powers, which Nova had gone to the Fantastic Four after he lost his powers in the events depicted in ROM. And when he goes to the Fantastic Four to help him, they're ultimately unable to. But Reed theorized that he thought that Nova's powers could return if he was placed in an extreme situation. So Night Thrasher drops him off of a roof.
That's awesome. They don't make comics like that anymore. Yeah,
They do
really
not.
don't. Yeah, different times for sure, for damn sure. What are some other legends that you've had the honor of meeting over the years? Like who's
I mean, the ones
who's
that
some
mean
of
the
your
most
favorites?
to me, George Perez was a big
Nice.
one.
Very cool.
One of the first comic creators I ever sat down and talked to, just because he was so friendly, and his son was too. Martin Odell, the co-creator of Green Lantern, the original Golden Age.
Oh, cool.
So when I went to my first con in 2001, I met Mart Nodell in Artist Alley and just got to talking to him, bought some art from him. No, I didn't buy art from him until the next year because I still didn't really understand how that worked yet. I think I bought a comic book, like a Golden Age Green Lantern, and I had him sign it.
Okay.
One of the ones he had worked on.
That's awesome. Man.
And
awesome.
yeah, that was the first time like I talked to anybody. And it was a golden, which I'm not that big of a Golden Age guy, but
yeah,
that was a cool moment.
Yeah, that would be a cool moment for sure. It's really cool.
My first sketch came from that con, Jim Lee. I was waiting to meet my friends because nobody owned cell phones back then. And we had agreed to meet at a certain time.
Yeah.
To walk back to our hotel together and grab something to eat. And I was the first one to show up. And there was a guy just standing in the lobby, and he was drawing for people. And I said, "What's going on here?" Because there was literally like a line of 3 dudes. And this guy drawing. And I was like, "So what's happening?" He's like, "Jim Lee's sketching right now for people while he waits." And I said, "Well, I'll get in line." And I noticed the guy in front of me had a sketchbook. I was like, "Can I buy a page from you?" And he said, "No, but you can use a backing board, Good idea. So I reached in my bag and pulled out a comic book, took the backing board out of it. And when my turn came, I got and I don't remember why I picked the character because I've never gotten one. Well, I've gotten a few since, but not many. Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman. Okay.
A bust of Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I don't recall.
Jim might have picked the character.
I was gonna say because I don't remember. I've talked about a lot of different characters with you, but not Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I don't really read the book. I have a few issues here and there of certain people's runs, and not super into it.
What got you going down the rabbit hole of original art? What got you into, because you collect a lot of original
So that
stuff.
was the first time. And then I started getting into, and I'm kind of jumping ahead because another thing that
sorry
happened,
about that. Maybe I am
well,
jumping
and
ahead
we
a
can
little
jump
too far.
around because none of my stories like string together well. But I'm a tangent guy.
It's all good.
One of my another person that was very influential to me was a guy that kind of hung out and worked at the comic shop that I went to, and his name was Todd, and he was significantly older than me. He was a school teacher, and he taught me a lot about collecting comics. And him and another guy from the shop were looking for one more person to split a room with them back in 01 for Wizard World Chicago. It had been Chicago Con before that, but a few years earlier, Wizard Magazine had purchased it. And this is before the tour. This is before there's a Wizard World Philadelphia. This is just, they did a Chicago show, and they would do the Wizard Magazine Awards. It was in the middle of summer, and they would have like an award show as part of the weekend. Like, so the year I went, Kevin Smith hosted the awards.
Oh, that's cool.
It was, if you had a ticket, you got in, and they were like, yeah, it's for a 3-day pass, it's $50. We're going to go up Thursday night, and we're going to hit it hard each day and then come home Sunday night. And I said, well, what the hell? I took some time off work, paid my money, and spent a bunch of money at the con.
Man, that would have been awesome.
But I was mainly just filling in that. At that time, like, so when I went to that con, all of a sudden, this list I'd been slowly working on, I could find so many books. Because I didn't really like, I had bought a few books off of eBay at that time, but it was a pain in the butt. You had to send money orders and stuff. Remember old school eBay? Like,
Yeah,
it
I
wasn't
do.
like there was PayPal even. And I didn't
Yeah.
have a credit card, so I had to send money orders to people. And then they would send me a book like 2 weeks later. But yeah, so that is the story of my first con. But Todd collected art. And so then I started learning about sketchbooks and the world of art collecting. So by 2004, now I'm really buying art. I'm still focused on comics, but I'm always looking for certain artists. But I'm more of a budget collector at that point. Like, I remember passing on Darwin Cook because he wanted $50 or something.
Now, like this, now you're going to cons pretty regularly every year?
I went every year. And then, so what year? Did I say 04?
Yeah, 04 is what you said.
04, I go to San Diego with Joe and the guys. So after I went to a con and sung its praises to everybody, my buddy Jerry, Tim, Joe, and Kaufman, the five of us all started going to cons at one point. And then, Jill my wife comes into the picture. She goes, my sister-in-law went, people I would work with and stuff. Like, it was, by 2006, it was not like unheard of for us to have like 19 people at Chicago Con in our group. Like, we would have like a string of rooms.
Okay, so you're traveling, and yeah, that would be cool to go in a big group like that.
Yeah. And yeah, by that point, I'm buying art.
What do you remember the first piece of original art that you bought?
The first piece I paid for, I believe it was a sketch of Green Lantern by Martin Odell.
Oh, yeah, okay. Mark said you should go to a drink and draw one day.
Yeah, I've been to a few.
Drink and draw.
Yeah. So drink and draws are usually by Hero Initiative, but not always. Heroes Con is an example. They do their own, but Hero Initiative runs a lot of them at like I think they run the one in San Diego. At least they used to. They do all of the Reed Pop Cons, which is Emerald City, C2E2, and NYCC. Planet Comic Con has had it. I don't know if they do it anymore. But anyway, also drink and draw is you get a coaster. Let's see if I got one around me. Yeah, sure.
Marcus says he's so pumped for Heroes Con. You're going to Heroes Con this year, aren't you?
No.
No?
No, sir. So this is an example. Well, this was a writer, but this is an example of a drink and draw coaster. I've got it in a little frame. Okay. But you get the date and the artist on it, and they draw you something, and you pay $20. Usually is the price, and you reach in and you draw out a name, and then you go over to that artist. It's always in a bar. People are having drinks. This one is a Cyclops by a guy named Jonathan Hickman.
Oh, sweet. Jonathan Hickman.
Yeah, this was awesome. Before he ruined the X-Men.
That's really cool, though. That's awesome. My big regret.
Oh, Black Spiders. That had to be a regret.
Yeah. $20 sketch. Hell yeah.
And yeah, like I know in 2012, I got my first Perez. I had him do a sleepwalker for me.
Man,
And I paid $40.
I never got to meet him. I do actually have a signed slab by him, but I never got to meet him. So it's a little different getting to meet him.
Yeah, yeah. He was so kind. Such a good guy. I
Man,
actually have 3 sketches from him.
that would have been awesome.
Yeah, I got a speedball, a sleepwalker, and a Thanos.
Thanos. Oh, that's awesome. I bet that one's really cool.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. I use that picture on my whatnot of Perez and I, and it's a bad time for me, Mark. Get Kyle to go, and then we'll talk. If
Yeah, you
Kyle
got
commits, I'll think about it.
Marcus said if you go this year, I guarantee you Beckerman will be there.
All right, let's play this game.
He's telling Biggie. It's telling
Mark,
Biggie
if
that.
Kyle goes, I will move heaven and earth. I thought she wasn't. Damn it. That was my way to get out of this.
So I was going to ask you, do you have plans to hit any
Oh,
cons?
no, she got to go all 4.
Do you have plans to hit any cons at all in 2024?
Yeah, I'll be at Planet in a few weeks here in Kansas City.
What's that normally like? I've never been to any
Normally
of them,
it's
honestly.
a little smaller.
So is it more intimate, or what are the pros and cons to a smaller con?
So it's usually, I was going to say it's a little smaller than like Heroes. It's like Heroes, in that they're both independent of the corporate system. Like they're
Okay.
owned by people and not entities.
Like the ones
I
that
don't
we
know what a
have around.
NOLA post is, but it sounds serious, Mark. You should get that checked out.
No, this is
You know that this is as far away. See, I'm not going to let him dominate this conversation. All right. You asked me about Planet. Usually it's like a decent con. They've had guests like Stan Lee and stuff. They've had bigger names, but they usually don't have like a whole slew of them. And they're different from Heroes in that they do get celebrities. But this year, Chris Jackson, the guy who owns it, has gone all out because it's their 25th anniversary. And they've got damn it, circumstances. John Bernthal, Vincent D'Onofrio, Charlie Hunnen, whatever his name is, Ron Perlman. And then for artists, they have people like Eduardo Rizzo and Doug Mankey, Pat Gleason, Kevin Eastman,
very cool.
Francis Manipul.
Man, that's an awesome list.
Yeah, there's a lot of good creators going.
Well, what are you collecting as far as like, are you collecting anything right now as far as comic books?
Yeah. I get my weekly poll, and
so you're doing the pull list every week. Are you collecting any? Are you working on any runs or anything, or anything like that?
I'm in kind of maintenance mode. Most of my runs are as complete as I can get them, so I just kind of chip away at it as I can. Not really concerned about it anymore. Now I'm going after like fringe stuff that I didn't get the first time around, or stuff I might have missed out on or didn't know about.
Okay.
Pocan Joe is gonna teach me how to cook, Matt. You probably shouldn't do that.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
I also collect wrestling action figures now. This is a thing I got into.
Really? Are you being serious?
But really I like the retro ones. So these are like made to look like the old school 80s ones, but a little higher quality.
Yeah.
This is One Man Gang. And I like the company because they actually partner with the wrestler themselves or their estate.
What
So
is the
like Andre
company?
the Giant's daughter signed a contract with him, and they've made two. The company's called Zombie Sailor Toys, and they've
Zombie
got these
Sailor
two
Toys.
Andre the Giants.
Hold on, I'll blow you up here.
I've been into these
There we go.
lately.
I like those. Those are like the ones they kind of remind me of what I played with when I was younger. Like the ones
Yeah.
we played with as kids.
Yeah, they remind me of that, and that's what I like about them.
That's really cool.
King Kong Bundy.
King Kong Bundy. Hell yeah.
Yeah. And then, of course, actually one of my favorite ones in the series. Remember Raven?
Yes, I do.
And like the jacket's
He's
like
got
actually on the figure.
He's got the cool jacket. Hold on, I gotta blow you up again. I should have just left you up. Hold on. My bad, man. There we go. The cool little jacket. Look
Actually
at
met
that.
Raven at a con.
That's sweet.
Early 2000s. He had just done that Spider-Man book. He did a story in Spider-Man about the wrestler that Spider-Man fought in Amazing Fantasy 15.
Oh, cool. So I noticed you're also an out-of-box collector, which I am too.
Yeah, I open my toys.
I do too.
For the most part. I haven't opened some of the new Warriors toys. We both have all of those, though. I'm missing one.
Of the
I can't bring myself to pull the trigger on a Night Thrasher.
Oh man, yeah, I don't have Night Thrasher.
It's expensive.
Yeah, I don't have a Night Thrasher.
I have everybody else though.
I was trying to think. I'm missing quite a few of the new Warriors.
I have Darkhawk, Rage. Well, they haven't made a silhouette.
Yeah, not yet. Honestly, I don't. I got Speedball. That's the only one that I can see that's a new Warrior, and I have tons of Marvel Legends.
Oh, didn't you get Justice and?
Not yet. I'm going to.
Okay, you haven't gotten Justice and Namorita yet.
I haven't gotten Namorita.
I've got them. I've got Firestar. And yeah, that's all of them.
Firestar, I think, came in a 3-pack that was really expensive.
It was an exclusive too that you could order.
Oh, okay. There was an exclusive. I missed that.
Wait, I got her in a single. Yeah, that's cool. So I met him before he went to TNA.
Wow, that's awesome.
He was pretty jacked when I met him.
Man, I've been to a few wrestling things, just local ones. Not anything.
I have a local wrestling coming up this weekend. I'll be going with Marcus, Bobby De La Ghetto, and Brother Joe. Man,
those can be a blast. Those are really fun sometimes.
Yeah, it would be a lot of fun, except for Marcus is going to be there.
And you hear how he's talking about you, Marcus?
No. I actually always do enjoy it when Marcus finally shows up.
Yeah, of course.
He leaves you sitting waiting for him for a while, and then he rolls in.
Are you doing any content as far as like YouTube?
Yeah, so I do a show called The Hucklebuck.
Nice.
And
what's that about?
That's with Comic Viking over on the Comic Viking channel.
Okay.
And I believe there will be a new episode dropping tomorrow morning, as long as Alan remembered to load it up. But we tape it in advance. It's just our unboxings and foolishness, and so it's a good thing I'm a huge fan of myself being friends with this guy. Yeah. Interestingly enough, I want to go back to DVH's comment. You were at the CM Punk Raven match. Didn't they get some heat during that? Like, I think Punk got mad at Raven, right? Didn't something happen there in real life? How old was I when I realized Sting is the GOAT? I love Stinger. You know that.
Who's your favorite?
Favorite wrestler of all time changes a lot for me.
Really?
Went through a big stint where the answer would have been CM Punk. Liked Raven a lot.
Do you remember Ahmed Johnson?
Yeah, that guy is a dick.
Dude, yeah, he was, man. But I really liked him a lot. There was a bunch.
He's right. When I was a kid, Bret Hart was my fave.
Bret Hart was cool with the sharpshooter. That was pretty sick.
Yeah, I love Bret Hart.
Sting's Crow Run. Bret Hart.
Maybe it wasn't a particularly good match. Raven was mad, and he was putting Punk over because Punk was doing the whole tour. Makes sense. Raven's a really smart guy too. Just ask him; he'll tell you. But no, he really is like a high IQ guy. When they did what was it? A bunch of wrestlers did the show Win Ben Stein's Money. Raven just like destroyed.
Really?
He dragged like everybody that was on the show with him.
Nation of Domination. I remember them. Yeah, that was when The Rock was Rocky Maivia back then.
Yeah, The Rock and who was it? D'Lo Brown.
D'Lo Brown.
Godfather, but not
Farouk.
Oh, he'll tell you, but he has a great mind for wrestling. Yeah, he does. Raven, I meant that seriously. Like even Raven's story that he wrote for Spider-Man, it was solid. He knows how to craft a story. I used to be a big fan of his blog. Before we had a comic community, we had blogs and message boards. I was a big fan of the Raven Effect message board. I was a big fan of the CBR's message board, comic book resources. That was like where most people went to bitch or talk about what's good.
Yep. I
think those message boards are how I found out about Fables coming out and got on Fables.
Yeah, I still follow them on IG, I think. I was just
God, that's got to be a window into a madman's soul. I almost want to read like part of an excerpt.
What would it be about? Politics or what?
Circumstances in 02 to 04, probably chicks and football.
Chicks and football. He will never share, he says.
And maybe like really bad poetry, I'm guessing.
Oh. Well, we got like 5 minutes left, man. What do you got coming up? You got anything cool coming up?
You can find me around. I'm usually in chats. I like Bleeker's Church on Sunday mornings. You can find me on the Comic Vikings channel on the Hucklebuck. You can locate me on 4C Live. That's a weekly show on Tuesday. I don't think they're doing it tomorrow because we had a busy Friday night. My buddy Ken, you had talked about comic book creators and stuff. Like Ken, my buddy Ken, I've met quite a few creators from him, worked his booth before. He represents people like Bill Morrison, Ron Wilson, Jim Shooter.
Oh, wow. Very cool.
Friday night we did a big sale, live sketching on YouTube and Facebook, streamed on both. And we had Sergio Aragona, Stan Sakai, Bill Morrison, and Scott Shaw in there.
That's pretty cool. Now, how often does that kind of stuff happen?
That one was kind of a special event. I hope it happens again soon.
Hell yeah. What is it? Oh, Marcus is fighting against big oil propaganda.
Oh, yeah. He was probably complaining about W and how like the world was going to end, but it didn't. Remember that? Remember when everything stayed the same?
Yeah. He said, is he close? Is he close? Okay. All right. Let me ask you something that I've always kind of wondered, because you got an amazing collection of art and comic books, all kinds of stuff. What's like one of your favorite things in your collection? Like, what is your favorite item?
My favorite piece is the Thor 412.
Really?
Closely followed by that Avengers Academy page I told you about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. And then there's a few things like when I've done jam pieces I like.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know, the speedball from George Perez really means a lot to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I could definitely see
And
why.
then yeah, just getting to meet and hang out with people whose work you followed as a kid. I mean, it's weird to me that at this point, like I do consider Bill Morrison's my friend. That guy made Simpsons comic books when I was a kid. As I got older, he was like the art director on Futurama. And like he's like, "Hey Becker, how's it going? Want to go grab a burger?" Like that's weird to me. It's weird how life works, that when you but I mean, I'm sure you see that through your channel. Like, did you ever think when you got into comic books again, when you came back to it, you'd be hanging
Yeah.
out with artists whose stuff you read?
Dude, no, absolutely
Yeah,
not. It
but
blows me
but
away
that's
sometimes.
kinda how comics are. The deeper you get into it, at some point, you do start meeting because comic book creators are pretty approachable people, and they're also trying to push their product, and they're also usually fans, which helps,
Yeah.
and so they're looking for stuff too, and they like to talk about comics too, so if you have
Yep.
basic social skills and aren't like Marcus, you can make friends and build relationships.
Yeah, that is true. That's very true. Well, dude, man, I appreciate you taking the time to come hang out with us this evening, man. It's been fun.
Yeah, it was a great time.
Let's see. Why am I catching strays?
Yeah, but I like Mark.
Oh, he said Mark is right there.
Yeah, and I like Mark.
Are you familiar with Brian Silverbaugh?
Yeah, I've met him a few times. I always called him Brian Silverbacks.
Ah, well, maybe I'm mispronouncing it.
Yeah,
I'll
I
ask
mean, I've
him.
called it to his face and he didn't correct me. So,
Well, maybe you know better than I do. I'll straight up ask. I'll just ask him.
do you think the X is silent?
I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know.
Silverbacks is how it's always been said to me, but
Okay.
I would just ask him.
Yeah. Never hurts to ask. But
But
anyway,
yeah, he actually did a when I first moved to Kansas City, he did a signing at my LCS.
dude, he does some amazing artwork. I've been checking out a
Yeah,
lot of his
I
stuff on
think he was
IG.
pushing Loggerhead at the time.
Really cool. Really
First
cool
issue had
stuff.
just come out.
He'll be the
Yeah,
guest next
nice
week.
dude. That's same time frame I met Martin Zavala too.
Very cool. Yeah, he'll be coming on next week. I'll have Durs on here hanging out with me, co-hosting, and Brian's going
Nice.
to come on and talk to us. So that's going to be a lot of fun. But he'll
Yeah,
be
Mark
next week.
says it's Silverback. I was gonna say I'm pretty sure it's Silverbacks.
Silverbacks.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was Silverbox.
No.
Okay. All right. Well, it's good to
Hey,
know
I
though.
did that once. If you got 1 minute, I'll tell you the story of how I embarrassed myself
We got
as a young
plenty of
man
time.
in front of Mark Miller, who I called Millar.
Yeah, I've heard people say that before.
Yeah, he corrected me, much to the embarrassment of me and the delight of all my friends. Because if you've noticed, Scott, I antagonize my friends, so
Yes.
they're all very happy when I get my comeuppance. So yeah, my
Well,
friends for the rest. Dude, I was so excited to meet this dude. Like he was promoting Kick Ass at the time, and I thought that book was awesome. I
yeah.
just come off of Wanted, like Wanted and Kick Ass were top tier reads to me, and I just wanted to meet him and gush over him. And I said, "Oh, Mr. Millar, I love your work," and he's like, he just destroyed me. He was like, Milla. He had his friends with like some friend of his from Scotland was with him, and he was like laughing immediately, and like he gave
Oh
me the
man.
business. I was very embarrassed.
That sucks that you're embarrassed. It's cool you got to meet him though.
Yeah, I've met
Well,
him a few times.
I was saying Tinyan instead of Tynan for the longest time.
Yeah, but does he really deserve to have his name pronounced correctly?
Ouch.
Mark Miller wrote Wanted, which is an awesome book.
Angelina was the truth.
Yeah, that movie sucks and is nothing like the book Wanted. Go read Wanted. Don't watch that movie.
I don't think I've ever seen it, honestly. But anyways, next week on Comic Book Addicts, the special guest will be Brian Silverbacks. So I'll have Durs hanging out with me. We'll be talking to him. And Beckerman, man, I really appreciate you coming and hanging out with me this week. Really cool of you, dude. Been wanting to have you on here for a long time. Like I was saying earlier, I got to hang out with you last year. I hope I get to meet back up with you and hang out with you again in person really soon. Hopefully at a con this year or sometime in the next year. It'd be awesome.
Are you going to Heroes?
I'm gonna go, dude. I'm gonna go this year. So you definitely should consider.
This is the
it.
year to go, I hear.
I mean, I understand if you can't make it, but I'd love it if you could, dude. It'd be awesome.
Somebody have Kyle get a hold of me. We'll talk about it.
We're gonna work on it, y'all. We're gonna see. But I do appreciate you hanging out with me this week as usual. I appreciate all you guys that came to hang out with us in the chat, and any of you guys catching the replay. Much love. Really appreciate you guys. Please come back and check it out next week at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Me and Durs will be talking to Brian Silverbacks, amazing artist. But for now, go check out Between the Lines with special guest Chalk Girl over at Geek Out with Roscoe's channel. And we'll leave you like we always do with some Biggie Shack. Later, guys.
I'd say that one is a banger, man. It's a real certified banger, dude.